Hello, how are you? How are you? So I know this is for the moment, as always, but I have something to say, okay? So the other day I went to a training, and in this training, really wasn't about self-care. It was a general training about cultural diversity or something like that, right? And in the beginning, the whole setup to it, they were talking about self-care, and I'm not really going to get into a whole thing about self-care, but that's what we're talking about, self-care. And she read the definition of you don't have any phone. She read the definition of self-care, and what I remember really from that self-care is that self-care should be done purposely and intentionally. Okay, self-care should be done purposely and intentionally. And I'm starting to find out, especially even since early this year, even before pandemic, that people are really starting to throw this term self-care, 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 self-care. And what is self-care? How do you practice self-care? And I used to say like when I went to the interview for the job that I have now, the lady asked me about my self-care. And a lot of times, if people say self care, I'll be like, oh, I work out, or oh, I do this. But then when I heard on this training, purposely and intentionally, I had to think about it like purposely and intentionally. It means, first of all, you have a purpose and then you do this thing intentionally, right? So a lot of times I'll say, hey, my self care may be working out. But then when I think about it, was it scheduled? No. It's purposeful, yes, but was it intentional? No. And it's like, okay, all of these different reasons I may have for working out. I always tell people I work out for my physical, mental, and emotional wellness. Yes, those are the reasons, those are the intentions. But now when it's time to do it, like say I say today I'm going to work out, but do I literally honestly say, oh, I'm going to take this block of time, so at 3 o'clock, I'm going to pen this in my schedule that 3 o'clock is that time to work out. Now, if I do that, that would fit in the realm of self-care because I'm doing it intentionally. Now, if I'm going through my day, thank you so much. You're awesome too, Isha. Now, if I'm going through my day and it's like, okay, I'm so busy and it's like, okay, I'll get it in whenever I can, then it may not be intentional, right? Because now it's just like I'm leaving it be to however my day flows. You know what I'm saying? So when it's done intentionally, it's like, okay, at 3 o'clock, I'm going to go work out, or at 4 o'clock, I'm going to go work out, or at 6 o'clock, I'm going to work out. So now this is intentional because I set it aside in my schedule. I made a specific time for it. So that means at that scheduled time, okay, at 3 o'clock, boom, I schedule it from like say 3 to 3:30. I know that intentionally my plans are to go out and do that workout. Now, say like I said, I'm going throughout my day, right? And I know I want to work out. Yes, I want to, but when it's not set, then I may become so overwhelmed that instead of me getting the whole 30 minutes, because I'm leaving it to, okay, whenever it happens, then I'll just get like 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So when you think of self-care, you have to make sure you don't just do it because, like, make sure when you are doing it, right, that you have some kind of intent. Like, example, I'll give you an example for today. Like, me and my sister, right, we talk on the phone sometimes, we text on the phone, we do whatever, but we haven't seen each other, right? And when we were talking and we're like, hey, we haven't seen each other, we need to hang out, right? So when we finally decided the date, I was like, you know what, let me put this in my calendar because it's an intention. It's an intention to go out. It's an intention to enjoy the company of my sister. It's my intention to say, hey, look, let me take this break from my life to do what I got to do. So when you think about self-care, make sure it's something that you're not just like throwing around because it's kind of like the phrase of the day. Because I see it online too. That's all people say is self-care, self-care. Even I say it, like I help overwhelmed moms with their emotional and their mental wellness so that they can live to the highest level of their self-care. But I just want to remind you, and I will come back and do a follow-up to this, but I just really wanted to get that out there. When you're thinking of self-care, make sure it's purposeful and make sure it's intentional. Intentional meaning that you're going to schedule it out. You're not going to by chance do it. So, like, say you're the type that likes to get your nails and your feet done, you may consider that self care, but you may leave that off to the back burner to when maybe you have the time. No, schedule that thing in, okay? And you're setting that intention. Now you're saying, okay, yeah, I know I have the kids. Yeah, I know I have the spouse. Yeah, I know I have work, but I am intentionally going to take this time to get my nails done. Okay. So that's kind of what you do. All right. You make sure you schedule that thing in. Don't let like the chips fall where they may when it comes to those things that you consider the self care. Okay. And like I said, like, even if you want to say that it's going to be exercise that you're going to use, make sure it's like scheduled. And, or like I said, for me, when I think about exercise, I exercise for my physical, mental, and emotional wellness, you know? So, it's like, okay, is that my self care, or is there something else I can say, okay, this is my self care? Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to dig deeper into this and I'm going to come back, but I definitely just want to try to remember that whatever you do, your self care should be purposeful and intentional, aka schedule, aka not just whenever you can happen to fit it in. That's not self care. That's just going through the motions and the routines of doing whatever you have to do. So, I hope you was able to get something from this, and I thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, I will come back and do another version of this, but I just want you to remember self-care, and always attach those purposeful and intentional to it, because moms, I know how it is. I know how it is become so overwhelming. We have to think about it like how we schedule our children's appointments or how we schedule our own appointments. Like when we schedule an appointment, guess what? We try to keep and maintain that schedule. And that's the same way we need to treat our self-care. Like, and especially during these times that we live in, that should have taught us that, especially, that we take it for granted, and it's just we can't. We can no longer put ourselves on the back burner. And while I'm here, yes, let me tell you that y'all are doing a great job. We all are doing a great job, especially those of us that do still work our 9 to 5s and have the kids and having to maintain life. I just want to pat you on your back, right? I want to pat y'all on your back for keeping your head, because I know how stressful this time has been. Like I'm living it too, so I totally understand how stressful it's been, and I just want to say, kudos to you for being able to keep up, keep your sanity, keep, like, oh my gosh, like, yes, just pat yourself on the back. I'm here for you. So anyway, I am done. I hope y'all have a great night, and I will talk to y'all later.